we go. Let's go home. But the car ended up having to go to the body shop, and we, I ended up getting a rental. They gave me this Dodge, I think it was like a Dodge Caravan, but it was like one of the newer Dodge Caravans. Kind of nice, actually. I thought it was really cool. And it was nice, big, spacious. You know, not that the Passat wasn't, it was as well, but you know, this is a van, so even more spacious. So I'd let people know, call them up ahead of time before I get there. Hey, I'm in a different car. My car, you know, goes to the shop, whatever, blah, blah. But I only drove this van for 2 days. Here is when things really kind of took a turn.
This episode is sponsored by DGC Publishing in association with Charisma Branding. Be sure to check out BlueNosePurpleEars.com to get your copy of the animated and ebook versions of the Blue Nose Purple Ears series.
After the car is in the shop, after they give me the Dodge Caravan to rent, you know, for a while to drive it around, they call me back. The rental place calls me and they say, hey, listen, we have an older lady here. She doesn't feel comfortable driving our Jaguar. Would you be willing to come back and bring in the van and we'll give you the Jaguar to drive instead until your car's fixed? So I said, Jaguar? Hold up now. And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's all we have. He's like, if you don't feel comfortable with it, then we understand. We'll send her to a different place. But I was like, I am on the way. And I literally was on the way to go pick someone up. I think I was past Philadelphia. And I said, I am on the way. Came all the way back down to Wilmington, Delaware. And they put me in this Jaguar F-Type. Oh, man, that thing is fun and it is fast. Oh, it is so fast. They made a mistake when they did that. That shut down the whole game. But that changed everything because, unfortunately, appearance is it's a large portion of being an entrepreneur. You know, if you look all roughy and dusty, you actually might be an artist, and that might be cool. If you look all clean cut and like you're dressed to the T, you know, you might know a thing or two. You might not. You know, the most people are the ones that stay most original to themselves. So don't forget that. But it is interesting and intriguing how having that car, it was like an SUV, but having this SUV, how it changed things. And I'll give you an example. So here we go. I'm in the F-Type. It's probably 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm thinking to myself, I need to formulate a plan here. I got this really nice car. What am I going to do to take advantage of this? So I went home. I found the best suit and outfit that I could find, you know, and you know, I laid it out for the next day, and I got up nice and early. I'm talking like 4:30 in the morning, real early in the morning. Threw the suit on. I had washed the car the night before, or they did wash it, but it wasn't washed. So I detailed the car, or the SUV, when I got back that day too. And that next morning, drove up to Media, PA. I just drove up to Media, PA, because a lot of times they're going to the airport, just in case there's any Uber drivers out there. I'm sure you guys know that already. So I drive up to Media, PA, and I just wait. I turn on the Uber Lyft app, just waiting, tick-tock, waiting. I got bored of waiting. So I left Media, PA, and I kept driving, and I ended up past Reading. Yeah, I was up there, man. I was way up there. So I ended up past Reading, and I was probably around 7:30. And this first ride comes in, and this guy's like, "Hey, we're going to Philadelphia Airport." Okay. Yeah, and we're driving down, and you know, he's like, "Hey man, this is a nice car. I thought on the app it said that you had a Passat." And I was like, "Nah, you know, my car's in the shop right now, and I'm driving this, so I hope you're okay with it." He's like, "Yeah, for sure." And he comes, sits in the front. He's like, "Oh, let me sit in the front seat." You know, we pulled over so he could sit in the front seat because we had been having a good conversation. So he just sits in the front seat, and we're just kind of cruising, and you know, taking pictures and stuff. Turns out this guy is an influencer from California, And, I'm telling them, yeah, I'm just driving around, man. I'm trying to meet people, get contacts. He's like, oh, I bet you make pretty good money doing this. I was like, no, I make literally no money doing this. I was like, the money that I'm going to get from this ride will probably just pay for the gas. Like that, I'm not going to make any money from doing this. But he's like, why are you doing it? I was like, bro, I'm trying to get in contact with people. I'm trying to get contacts. I just want to meet and see what people are up to, what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, how they're getting it done. And he's like, it's genius. He's like, bro, that's a genius idea. He's like, I never even thought about doing that. I was like, well, I don't know if it's genius or not, but I'm making my way with it. But basically, as time went on, and the more people I picked up, the more people I met, the more business cards I got. And I would take the business cards, and I made sure I had business cards too, and it just said entrepreneur driver. I can't even remember what it said on there. I spent like the cheapest amount on some cards just so I had something to give someone. But I would take their cards, and I would take their cards every time, and I would call them, or I'd send them an email, and I'd reach out to them and say, hey, this is just, we had a really good conversation, or whatever. And most of them would remember me. And that was super, super helpful as time went on, because when projects started coming up, when things started coming up, and it's like, hey, I know this guy who can, I know this guy who can, I know this guy who can, that just kept spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. And it got to the point where I'm here today, where I am now. So there have been some things that have led me to this point in my life where I am meeting with other individuals, and I am also doing what I enjoy, helping build another brand right now, and I'm loving that. It's a children's brand, DGC Publishing, who sponsors this podcast. We're launching books for them, and it's been a long, hard, turbulent at times road. But if you're out there, if you are like me, you're one of those people who you just can't sit still. Can't sit still, not in the sense that you're like bouncing all over the place creating destruction. Maybe you are. I used to be destructive because I had no sense of direction on what to do with all the stuff going on in my head. But now that I'm a married, individual with kids and everything, and years have passed, I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. But if you're, like I said, if you're like me, if you're bouncing around, you can't sit down, you know that there's so much more that you have to offer. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try. So you failed. But did you really? You did something different. You did something new. You tried something, and it was scary. But new things can be that way. But they can also be exhilarating. They can be energizing, and they can teach you so much about yourself that many people take years to figure out, because they don't do the self-reflection that comes from being an entrepreneur. You don't have a choice but to self-reflect, because if you don't, you constantly screw up. You got to get to a point where your screw-ups help you lead somewhere successful. And that's what's important about learning about yourself and understanding yourself. So don't be afraid to quit. This has been my episode, and I have many more to come. I hope that you will stick with me for season 2, where we will have a little bit more, the interviews will be a little bit more personal, I guess is the best way to put it. So we'll kind of get to know a little deeper of the individuals that we're meeting with. Don't forget to check out charismabranding.com, where you can find the books that we are working on for DGC Publishing, Blue Nose Purple Ears, The Adventures of Blue Nose Purple Ears. And you can also listen to episodes of this podcast as well if you click on the podcast section. It'll take you to charismabranding.org. Just play it, listen to it, enjoy it if you want to. If you have a story you want to tell, or you want to talk about yourself and kind of help encourage others, give us a call. Or not a call, because we don't have a phone number, but send us an email or contact us on our website, social media, and we'll reach out to you. All right. Have a safe one, everyone.
Why always worry about money when you can get
Thanks for listening. Have a good one.